Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Zoom activities. We have a special guest today who's going to be going through our activity. I'm Elizabeth. I'm one of the educators at the Science Center, and we have Lou from Cornell who's going to be leading today's activity.
Hi, I already saw somebody posting in the chat. So I'm Lu. So I'm from Cornell. I'm doing biomedical engineering research work. And when doing my research, I study how obesity is linked to breast cancer. But today we're gonna do some fun imaging, optics, light experiments, and hopefully we can have a fun morning.
All right. So for this activity today, you're going to need 2 clear glasses or containers that you can fill with water. You might also want a tray or a baking sheet because this one could get a little bit messy. And you're going to want some water, maybe some cooking oil, something that's kind of long and skinny like a chopstick or a pencil or a straw, or if you don't have one of those, like a fork would work too. You might also want some paper towels or a rag, because again, this one could get a little messy. And then if you have them in your house, a laser pointer or some water beads could also be a cool extension for this activity, but they're not necessary. And so I'll give you all a little bit of time to gather those materials if you don't have them. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how to use Zoom, because I see some of you are familiar faces, but it looks like we might have some newbies as well.
All right. Does everybody have all the things they need? Do you have like a cup with water, a stick, or maybe a fork?
I'm seeing some nods. Looks like we're mostly ready to go. I see people raising up their sticks and their water. All right.
Okay. So the first activity we're gonna do is just have this cup of water and then put a stick in there. And then can somebody tell me, when you look at from the different angles, what is different about the stick? Or you can look at your own like little
Looks
water
like Jacob
container.
and Jerome have an observation.
Yeah,
it looks like it's broken in two.
Yeah, that's a good observation, right? At this part, it's almost like there is a gap.
Spoil it or spill it. I gave you some oil in here, so when you need, you can just take the top off and do whatever you need to with it. Okay?
All right, I see some other people showing off their sticks. Now, is the stick actually broken? What happens if you pull it back out?
Is it still one piece? Or is it broken? And now if we put it back in, does it look like it's broken?
No. No, Kathy, this is mine.
So what do we think is happening?
Maybe the water is reflecting the stick to make it look like it's in different places.
Ah, that's a very good guess. I see some other hand raising. Anybody want to talk about it?
Jacob and Jerome?
I did not raise my hand actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's like if this thing is still one piece, but then when it's in the water, it looks broken. So something is playing a trick, right? So it is light that's playing a trick. So here's a concept that I want you to take home with. It's something called a reflective index. You can just call it RI. So if you have a laser pointer and if you point into the wall, you see the little red light, right? So light always travel in a straight line, but it only does it if it's in the air. If it now enters water, things change. So that's why we have something called RI. So when the light enters the water, things look a little broken. So the light will travel differently. But then it doesn't really change the stick. It's just changing how light is working. So it's like we're bending the light, but we're not bending the stick. So now water is one thing, but if you try it with oil or with sugar water, things are gonna bend differently because they are different than water. So here I have a little cup. If you see on the bottom, I have water, and on the top, I have some oil. What do you think is gonna happen if I now put the stick in here? Anybody want to take a quick guess before we do it? All right, now I have the stick. And now I'm gonna put it in. What do you see? You see this?
Jacob and Jerome, do you have an observation?
What are we doing again?
All right, so if you look at Lou's screen, she has some water on the bottom of her cup, and then she poured some oil on top of the water, and then put the stick in as well. And so we're kind of looking to see what happens now if there's three materials, the air and the water and a little bit of oil.
Oh God, oh God.
Do you want to try it yourself as well? You just have a cup with some water and you pour some oil on top. And now if you look at the stick, what does it look like at the interface? Like here, here, here. Is that still a stick? Or does it look some kind of bended?
Lightning bolt.
Una has an interesting observation. She says it looks kind of like a lightning bolt because it maybe has two zigzags, two breaks.
The zigzag. Yeah. And why do you think why is it looking like that?
Because the oil makes it bend like that, and the water also makes it bend like that. It makes it look like that.
That's a very great guess. Yeah, because the oil, it bends light differently, and the water bends light differently, and air bends light differently. So when you put something in there, if you have a laser pointer especially, you can see that the light actually zigzag to travel through the three different media. So that's the power of the refractive index.
Does anyone have a laser pointer at home? I would love to see if anyone has one, I'd love to see what it looks like if you try it out with a laser pointer. And if you don't have it right now, you can also take a picture of what you see and post it on our Facebook page afterward. We'd love to see that as well.
Yeah, and basically anything has the RI, the bending property. So if you have a laser pointer and you point at the jello, you're gonna see the light is gonna bend inside the jello because the jello is not uniform. It's like oil, water, so the light will just keep bending forward. So it's gonna be a fun experiment to try at home if you have a laser pointer.
See, I see a couple people with laser pointers, so if you shine them through your cup or through your glass, kind of like you did with the stick, right? So that it goes through the air and the oil and the water. What happens to that beam of light? Can we see? I see Vivian has one and Jessica Brown has a laser pointer.
Ooh,
Vivian,
that's
got
cool.
some cool effects going on.
Do you wanna describe what you see, Vivian?
What do you see this?
Wait, it's on.
I'm unmuted.
Ah.
That goes all to the bottom.
The laser goes all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, but it also shines.
So it goes all the way to the bottom, but it kind of changes the angle. Well, that's, yeah, cool.
Yeah, another thing you can try at home if you have a laser pointer is that if you put some corn syrup into the water, and then but you don't stir it. So then you let it sit overnight with some water, and then you're gonna have a gradient of sugar. So then if you point your laser pointer on the side, you're gonna see how the light start bending when you reach to the bottom, because the sugar is at a different amount at this different layer of water. But those are the things we'll post on Facebook, and you can try at home with those instructions. So with that, does anybody have some water beads at home? Like, this is the water beads. Some of your parents may have it at home to kind of put in the vase with some flowers. And I just have some that looks clear. So the water beads absorbs water, and then it can get bigger because it absorbs water. So now I have some water here. What do you think is gonna happen if I put the water bead inside? Anyone want to take a wild guess?
We don't have one of those.
Anyone have a prediction about what's going to happen when we put the water bead in the water? Or should we just try it and find out?
Try and find
Oh,
out.
Elizabeth has a prediction. All right, so you can unmute yourself, Elizabeth.
You can really see it. See it?
I think it's gonna get bigger.
Ah,
Last where's the what? Where the
all right, so Elizabeth thinks the water bead might get even bigger because it's going to absorb that water.
at the opposite side.
Yeah, it bounces off, doesn't it? And with all the stuff in the water, you can kind of see it better.
Oh.
All right, well, let's try it.
Okay, I'm gonna drop the water beads just to, oh, it's hard to see from this angle. Just so you see, I'm not cheating. I have the water beads. And now I'm dropping it. What do you see? Where's the water beads?
Oh, Philip, do you want to chat? You got to unmute yourself. Nope, okay.
Or just to see you again, I have a water bead. And now I'm dropping into the water. What's happening now?
It disappeared.
Yeah. Can you see it in the water?
Nope.
Ah, so why do we think it disappeared? How'd that happen?
Do you think it actually disappeared?
Yeah, Una, do you have an idea?
I think, well, since it's see-through, I think it might have just like camouflaged in the water.
That's a very good guess. It's a camouflaged because, yeah, that's a good guess. So if it's camouflaged, that means it doesn't go away, right? So technically we can get out 2 water beads. Okay, that's the first one. Let's see if I can find the second one. Yep, it's here. So the water beads actually doesn't disappear, but the light bends the water beads. It's almost like think water beads is like water. So then when the water beads blend in with the water, we can't tell the difference. So again, we have the water beads, we put it in, it just disappeared because we can't see it. It's the same property as the water. So now if we kind of try to put water beads in the oil, since it's gonna look differently, because as you see previously, the stick is gonna burn 3 times because the water and the oil is very different properties. So now let's add the water beads. So you see, the water beads stuck in between the oil and water. And now you can see the water beads because it's wrapped in oil in the water, but it also has some water in the oil. So now you can see them, right? But if you put the water beads back again into just water, bigger cup of water, now it's gonna disappear again. Should I? So actually scientists take advantage of those observations, because sometimes if we want to see what's inside of the bodies, but we can't really see it, because if you put the laser pointer in your hand, you can't really see through it, right? So sometimes scientists will put some kind of tissues into a special media. So then we can technically use light to clear the medium and then see what's inside. So here is a jar filled with different water beads, but there's something kind of yellowish in the center. Is there a way that we can see what's in there without actually take it out? Can anybody design a quick experiment?
What could we do to be able to see through those water beads to see what's inside? Una, do you have an idea?
You could put water in it, because then the water beads like disappear, so you can see what the yellow is.
That's a great idea. Should we try it?
Good idea. Anybody
All right.
else who has different ideas? All right, let's try it then. Okay, I have some water. I have the jar. Oops, it's a little leaky. Yeah, now I can see there's a little Pokemon here, and the water beads all disappear now. And if we take the water out, now we can't see anything inside.
All right, so that's a pretty cool demonstration of something that scientists use in real life too. Does anybody have any questions for Lou? All right. Well, that is it for today. We hope you had so much fun experimenting and exploring with us. And again, if you make any cool observations with a laser pointer or with any other objects, we would love to see pictures of that on our Facebook page. We hope you have a lovely weekend, and we hope you can join us on Monday for an activity about imagining life. It's thinking about what life might look like on alien worlds. So for that one, you're just gonna need some paper and some colored pencils or markers or crayons, something to draw with. So we hope to see you back here at 10:30 on Monday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.